As Singaporeans, we plan a lot. We're very conscious about how we do things. We need to get the right balance to prevent the citizen population from declining. Can we just let nature take its course?
We look at the demographic trends. What we see is a segment of baby boomers. They are in their 55 to 65. They are retiring soon. So in 10, 15 years' time, even as we extend retirement age, they will retire. And if you look at the group that's entering the workforce, those that are in their 15 to 25 age group, they are not as large as this group. So immediately, we have a problem. The group that's retiring is larger than the group that's entering the workforce. We face a shrinking workforce problem. And as a responsible government, we have to deal with it now. So what do? So we'd like to have Singaporeans think about this issue. As a society, we need to address this, not just as individuals, not just as family members, but also as employers, as investors, because we want Singapore to continue to have good growth, good jobs, good investments, good environment. So we need to make sure that the Singapore core remains strong.
Actually, in fact, I heard a statistic currently by the year 2030, something like 900,000 Singaporeans will be above, 55 or 60. So we're looking at almost a quarter of the Singapore population.
65.
That would be
65.
65.
Yes. So more, come on, 3's not enough. You're not alone in facing this issue. Japan, Korea, I believe.
Many of the Asian societies, traditionally women stay at home, look after children. The man will be the breadwinner. What is the problem with that? It's because the women are getting educated. They see themselves having the opportunity to be financially independent. So this traditional role of making them choose one over the other. You know, if I get married, if I have children, it means I have to stay home and give up my job. So what's the alternative? It's not to get married, stay on a job, continue to build on my career.
Minister, looking at some countries like Scandinavia, they don't have a lot of immigration, but they have quite healthy fertility rate. Do you think it is because of this?
Yes, in societies when gender roles are more equal, actually women feel that the other half in the family is supportive. Plus the fact that the system there has very strong social benefits to support them, like long maternity leave, assuring the women that even if they have children, there's a job waiting for me. I was in a Scandinavian country maybe 2-3 years ago. There was an officer that was attached to me, showing me around, and she's from MFA, the Foreign Affairs. 5:30, she said, "Sorry, Minister, I have to go." Because this is a day when I have to pick up my daughter. And that's the kind of respect they have for the personal time. Another CEO of a Scandinavian company told me that if you're a new father, and if you're not spending the time looking after your newborn child, they will think that you're an irresponsible father. And that reflects on you as an imperfection as a person. So that's a very strong sense of involvement of the father in the family. We are not anywhere near there, but we think that we need to move towards that. So obviously it's not something that we can achieve overnight. We want to do it gently, by encouraging the companies through work-life grants and other support grants. We hope that more companies, more employers will focus on this issue.
It sounds very sad, but for some of the young couples now, the way they see it is like once they have kids, that's it, that's their end of their life.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do we work with that? Because for my husband and myself, you know, like we look at our kids already and we sound like a broken record. We're like, oh my goodness, you know, having kids is so great, having kids is so great. But for people on the other side of the fence, they're like, oh my goodness, I'm never going there. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think it's never easy to put a dollar on the joy that the children will bring us. The government is quite clear that the incentives that we have is really not to motivate couples to have children. If a couple come to us and say, oh, I'm going to have a child in order to make use of your grants, I'll be very worried. Because that will be a wrong starting point, right? It's never for the money. So it's an entire journey that we'd like to support parents in their child-rearing experience to make it as joyful as possible. What is really non-measurable, which is most important to parents, is really the good education system and, at the end of it, a good, vibrant economy. That's the best assurance we can give to parents.
80% of my managers are Gen Y, and their expectations are different. If you just want to go the traditional way, or they'll just go to another workplace which can accommodate what they want.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, as employers see that why the culture of this company seems to attract the best talents.
Yes.
And I think that's the time when they have no choice but to make some of these changes to allow more.
Yeah, I have visited some companies in Singapore, and I met a young banker. She's a young mother with young children. And she told me that I have people trying to headhunt me with better pay. But I decided to stay with this current bank because they have on-site childcare facilities. She has decided to stay on. And that's a very important talent retention example.
Yeah, exactly.
They are able to retain your staff by looking at their needs as well.
Minister, so many young couples have this concern, which is the cost of living as well as the change of lifestyle when they start having a family. Yeah, and do you think this would be some of the deterrents for them to start a family?
Yes.
The other thing is that, after they have kids, the mom eventually want to come back to the workforce. After being away for a while, would it actually affect their career?
Yeah, those are all very legitimate concerns. We look at the cost of raising a child, and the financial help has been adjusted over time. If you look at the various versions in the marriage and parenthood package, we try to keep up with the inflation and also adjust for the costs that's required. It will not be a reason for parents to want to have children, but hopefully it is sufficient help to at least give them some assurance. Change of lifestyle, I think, definitely. And I don't think this is an area that government can do to help. But what I would like to say to young couples is that there's a period of time when the lifestyle changes seems drastic, but I think the alternative of having lifestyle with children actually brings immense joy. I would like to encourage young couples to also look at the positive side of having children. For mothers who wants to perhaps stay home for a short period of time and then want to later come back, I would like to assure her that the government is very keen for her to return to the workplace. Because in the current situation when there's a labour crunch, the companies want to employ back-to-work mum. What we like to support women is in this journey of returning. Some women need to have some training, development courses because they have left the workplace for some years. They're not entirely sure if they are able to cope with the latest technology. So there are refresher courses for us, and we hope to extend to more women to encourage them to return to the workplace.
A quick question, where does one go to for these courses? And
E2I would be a very good place to go to, the NTUC, the 2 training centres that NTUC has set up. They not only help back-to-work mums, also mature workers.
Just to add on the note about priority, a recent survey that I read from Families for Life Council shows that a lot of the respondents believe that the work is actually taking away from their family. So we've seen a steady increase from 47 to 55% as it stays right now. We've heard of this term work-life balance. I think work-life balance it's impossible to achieve the equilibrium because no matter how you move, that work and life is always at both different tangents.
You're absolutely right to say that work-life balance itself, it doesn't mean that they are equal. At some point in time, one may have to take the larger proportion, and in another time, it may be the other way around. I still think that between the mother and the father, the roles can be a little bit more equal. So sometimes the mother feels that she takes on a disproportionate part of the responsibilities, and it sometimes can be quite a major stressor to her, especially unplanned events and also the demands of the work. So if we have fathers coming in or grandparents, they are a great help. I think that will build a nice support system that allows us to do both.
Minister, maybe there are really Singaporeans and families out there who really have a problem and they don't have the luxury to say this is for happiness or not. How much they earn, minus weight, their mortgage, their transport, how much they need to support their parents, medical, they really don't have enough.
There are schemes. The government will do our part to support couples in building a home. So for example, like at HDB, we have additional housing grant that is means tested. In other words, if you're low income, you get more grant from the government. So this is our part of supporting families. And couples who have children in the childcare, they will get more grants, more subsidies if their income is lower. So this is really trying to support the lower income more than the rest. When I first got married, I didn't have a house because at that time, the wait for HDB was 7 years. But we wanted to get married, so what do? We rented a room in the HDB estate in Jurong East. So that's a few $100s a month. It was quite a significant part of our take-home pay, and we had a wonderful time. We have good memories being newlywed in a typical housing estate.
Was there government help at that time?
The government housing was there, but the queue was 7 years long.
So for this group, it is not wrong to say that they will decide to have children if they do their sums, take government incentives, and if it makes sense, then they'll have children.
We have families with household income of 3,000. They can have a very happy family. We have households who have income of 30,000. They can also have a happy family. So it's really about how much is enough and what are we here for? Is it for the material consumption that is important? Do we need to give our children branded goods, for example? Or can we live simply and still enjoy a happy life? It's about finding happiness in its true sense, not necessarily through the material way.